Hi, I'm going to respond to some emails today. I've had a lot of questions coming in about untamed gliders and bonding with older gliders and basically fears of new owners with not so socialized babies. So I'm going to start out talking about older gliders. It's unfortunate whenever people get a sugar glider and then it ends up sitting in a cage because, oh no, it bites. Sorry, it's got teeth, it's gonna bite. Even teeny tiny Daisy here has been known to bite me. Yes, it hurts, but it's gonna happen. A lot of times whenever one of them bite me, the best thing that you can do is not flinch because that reinforces, hey, I bit you and then you did what I wanted you to do. Your finger went away from my face. So whenever they bite me, a lot of times I'll just go right in their face. They don't like that. It makes them stop. And I do that if going doesn't work. Because if you pay attention to your gliders whenever they're socializing or trying to sleep with each other, a lot of times you'll hear them go at each other. And that's either get your butt out of my face or get your face out of my butt kind of thing. So I try to do that back to them, you bit me, I didn't like that, kind of their language. And then I'll go up to at their face if the hissing doesn't work. Whenever you have an older glider, really it's not a whole lot different than bonding with a baby. They've just happened to be around a little bit longer. So whenever I first got Coco and Ziggy and actually Gizmo, they weren't tame at all. Ziggy, he's still a biter. Coco still doesn't trust a lot of people. I don't know where they came from. I got them from a mill breeder, and it's crazy how not being socialized as Joeys has affected them as adults. And you know what? That's okay because they trust me, and I've learned how to handle them not being so tame. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. A lot of times people say, oh, my glider bites me, or it runs away from me. Well, that's okay. You're a lot bigger than they are to scale. So you got to consider that whenever you're reaching in there. I read an article once on glidercentral.net, and it compared humans to sugar gliders like Godzilla to human. If you see Godzilla outside your window, you're going to think, oh my gosh, run as fast as you can in the opposite direction. That's kind of what these guys think whenever they first see you and interact with you for the very first time, or if they're not used to people. So you got to be careful about that. If your glider is running away from you whenever you reach in and try to get them in the cage, that's okay. They're not comfortable with you yet. What you need to do is make sure to have this particular bonding experience during the day whenever they're asleep in their pouch. And in my bonding video, I discuss a little bit about bonding with your glider while they're in the pouch, putting the pouch in your shirt, on your lap, putting your hand in the pouch. That's the best way to start the bonding process, especially with a glider that's not used to being handled, or as some would call a wild glider. So that's what I would suggest. If somehow you reach in, you can't get your glider, or just opening the cage door makes your glider run out of the pouch, that's okay. Give them some time to relax a little bit. If you're dead set on saying, we're going to spend time together whether you like it or not, and you're going to chase your glider down out of the cage, that'll stress them out, but here's a little bit of what you can do. Just get some fleece, put it around your hand. And a lot of times, Coco, for example, if she is feeling particularly antisocial for the day, I know that there's this particular corner that she likes to go in. And what you can do is, if your glider is right here, let me see if I can get somebody out here to show you the proper way to do this. Okay, I've got Coco here, and you can see that she wants to get away, and that's okay, and she's used to me cupping her in my hands. So you can see that she's already willing to come to me. But what you can do, if I can get this right, is with the fleece, just kind of cup your hand over them. And then cup your hands around and pick them up. Now, she's wanting to move around a lot, so I chose not to use the fleece because I know she's not going to bite at me. But that's the proper way to pick up your glider. A lot of times I'll put my hand or my fingers underneath the front of them, like this. Just like that. And she can't see how she came right on me? Right in front of her. That way she's being forced to walk right on me. Right there under her chest. Now, a lot of times whenever I've shared my gliders with other people, they want to grab them right here and then pick them up. That is, oh, that boils my blood, and I really shouldn't say that. Because they've got that very soft membrane through here, that patagium, their gliding membrane. And if you grab them right there and start pulling, that could hurt their bellies. They've got brittle bones. If you pull too hard, that could probably break a bone. I don't want to take any chances like that, and that could really injure their gliding membrane. So what you do is you have this, your glider's there, kind of pin them down, and then scoop them up. If you can get these fingers under the back legs and these fingers and this finger around the neck and the front, you can usually pull them off of the cage. And then if you need to use this hand to help pull up and around, then once you get the glider, you can cup them in your fleece with a big enough piece of fleece. This is what I could find. So that's what I ended up getting. And I'll get somebody back out here. That's Coco again. She's irritated with me now. Who's going to come out? Okay, here we go. Here's Gizmo. So, around and then scoop them up in. And then, yeah, they're going to fuss and crab probably. And if you have an untamed glider, they're going to bite through the fleece. But better to bite through the fleece than bite your fingers. And then it's okay to just hold them like this. Hold them tight. Not too tight, but they're marsupials. They're okay with being held in tight, dark places like this, held tightly against you. And that's Gizmo, by the way. He's my little guy. He was very unused to humans, very just unhandled whenever we first got him. He would actually stand on his hind feet with his front legs in the air and crab, 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 crab. It scared the crap out of my husband and I. And it's funny looking back on it 3 years later that I was afraid of this little guy. I was afraid of him. Why was I afraid of you? He was scary, and I was afraid he was going to bite me. And it's okay to be afraid of your glider, but they can sense that fear. You know, people always say all dogs can sense fear. Yeah, sugar gliders can too a little bit, because I've noticed whenever I get myself together and I come to the cage and I have the mindset, I'm going to take charge today. This is what's going to happen, and I'm going to make sure that this is what's going to happen. Then things go a lot better. Don't bite me. So, mindset is, you know, they say that possession is 9/10 of the law. Well, mindset is 9/10 of how well something's going to go whenever it comes to the bonding process with your glider. It's okay that you're afraid. You just need to step back, take a couple deep breaths, get a game plan. Okay, I need a pouch, I need treats, I need a piece of fleece. I'm going to go in there, reach in with the fleece, and scoop up my glider, which scooping usually consists of this. And they're drinking. It's so cute. Look at them drinking. My little babies. Look, you can see them through there, I think. They're so sweet. Anyways, so, and then have a plan B. Okay, if my glider runs off, I can put the fleece on them, scoop them up, pull them off the cage, scoop them up, and hold them like this, and then put them in the pouch. Have a game plan. And always, always have treats close by. They love treats. Even your more wild gliders, you can usually give a treat, and then you're able to scoop them up off of the side of the cage, or even giving them a treat inside of while they're inside of their bonding pouch is fine. Give them the treat, while they're still kind of sleeping, they're sleeping, they can smell it and then they'll take it. My guys half the time take a treat in their pouch with their eyes still closed. And that's quite beneficial for you if you have a glider that's not very fond of you or people in general. Something that I always have done with my new gliders is put honey or yogurt on the end of my finger, and at night while they're awake, I'll just put my finger in there close to them. And sometimes I've been known to sit there for 5 or 10 minutes with my finger right there with that honey or yogurt on my finger in the cage, waiting for them to come up to it because they're too scared and they don't know what to do. Or a dog will make a noise and that'll freak them out. And that's okay. Just sit there. Be patient. Be still. Talk very sweetly and calmly to your glider. You can move your hand nicely and slowly wherever. And that's one of the first steps that it should be for bonding with your glider, is getting them comfortable to lick something off of your finger. Whether it's honey or yogurt or, I don't know, those are the 2 things that I've used. I don't know what else to suggest. And then once they get comfortable with that, start giving them little yogis. These are just little yogurt drops. These are extra tiny. I ordered them from Exotic Nutrition. You can get them from different places online. You can just type in sugar glider yogurt drops and different places will come up. They're just extra small. You can also get the Yogi brand, Yoggie, I think, at a pet store. I usually get the fruit flavored ones, the small ones. They're for like guinea pigs and rats and rabbits. But I get the fruit flavored ones. They're a little bit bigger than these white ones, and they're fruit flavored. My guys like the bigger ones better. I think I have some over here. I don't know what happened to them. They're around here somewhere. Let's see. If somebody wants to hold your glider, make sure that your glider is already bonded to you. That should be a no-brainer, but generally speaking, people like to walk up to me when I have my gliders, and I've actually had people take my gliders out of my hands and walk off with them. And I'm like, oh no, you're not going to do that. Luckily, my gliders are bonded to me, and they'll jump back to me. But what you want to get to is this point right here. My guys like it whenever I put my hand on top. It makes them feel comfortable and safe. And if you need to do this right here while the fleece is around them so they don't bite, that's okay. Eventually they'll realize you're not food and you're not going anywhere. If they bite through the fleece, there's no need to open up the fleece and at them. There's no need to open up the fleece and blow in their face, because that fleece is protecting you. You just got to sit there and deal with it, because eventually they'll realize you're not going anywhere. This is Daisy. This is Daisy. She's always been a real good little girl. So I hope I have answered some questions. I'm glad that I'm getting emails and messages, people asking me questions. I finally had enough people ask me in such a short amount of time about older gliders, untamed gliders, and people really pretty much at their wits' end because their gliders are just going crazy. Also understand the gliders will go a little bit crazier around a full moon. That's kind of a well-known thing. I sometimes just kind of leave them alone on full moon nights because they just, I don't know, they'll bark. I'll open up the cage and they'll just jolt from one end of the cage to the other going nuts. And I can't have playtime with them like that because they just will sit there on my shoulder, eyes big, breathing heavy, like they just had like 4 cups of coffee or something. So scoop your glider. Try putting yogurt or honey on your finger to have them lick it off. Once you get to the point that your glider is becoming more bonded to you, they will come to you. If you're in a bathroom with them and they're jumping off of you and running all over the place, if you have a tent or a smaller room, maybe a closet, try that instead. A smaller place than a bathroom might be better for your case. That way they're not getting so far away from you and they're still in reach. I've got a little half bath that's just probably 4 feet by 4 feet. Like really, it's tiny. And I go in there with my gliders. They can't climb up the walls, which is fine. They'll just run around on the floor around me, or they'll come right to me. Sometimes they kind of play around the toilet, so make sure that you've cleaned up and sanitized around there with Clorox wipes or something before you take your gliders in there around the toilet. Other than that, if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. I hope I helped somebody out.